Hello, friends and neighbors, children of all ages, boys, girls, and hybrids. How we doing? How are things? How's your life? You can't answer any of these questions because you're not here with me, but I hope you're well. I hope life is treating you with the utmost kindness, and if not, at the very least, I hope you're having yourself some fun. It's been a while. It's been a great while. I've been gone for a long time. Well, I haven't been. I've been right here, actually. But I haven't been doing the podcast, is what I mean. It's been quite a spill since I recorded a podcast. And, if you've been around since day one, first of all, thank you so much. I do appreciate you. But if you've been around since day one, you're familiar with my patterns. The last time we spoke was the end of 2023, I believe. And a whole lot has happened since then. There's a whole lot I could tell you, and perhaps we'll get to that at some point. What I will say, as it pertains to this episode, is that in the time I've taken away from the podcast, but also to a larger degree from life in general, I've fallen back in love with reading books. Reading books and walking my dog has kept me above water. I don't know off the top of my head how many books I've read this year alone, just in 2025, but I know it's a lot, and I know that most of them were purchased at the Bookman in Orange, California. I've been going to the Bookman since I was a wee lad, since before I could drive a car. My mother used to drop me off there, and I would spend the better part of an afternoon just perusing shelves, marveling at how many Stephen King novels there were, wondering how someone could ever read such a big book, let alone write one. And as I got older and as my tastes sort of matured, the Bookman was always there to meet my needs. I've grown up going to the Bookman. At the risk of sounding hyperbolic, I've probably purchased well over 100 books from them over the years. They actually closed their doors a few years back, and I deeply mourned the loss. And then they reopened, and I rejoiced to the highest heavens. Whenever I catch wind of something I want to read before I go on Amazon, I always check to see if it's at the Bookman. I always check to see if the Bookman has it first. I'm not a God-fearing man, but that much is part of my religion. I've wanted to interview Dave, the owner, since way, way back when I was doing written interviews on my blog, and some of you were around in those days, and I thank you so kindly for still being here with me today. As is my usual pattern after not podcasting for a long time, so much so that the podcast had actually left my mind completely, I was inspired one day while at the Bookman, and I decided I'd ask for an interview. And if the answer was yes, that I'd bring the podcast back. What this means going forward, what the future looks like, I can't tell you. I'm still figuring that out myself. But as of now, this is something I did purely for myself, for the kid who grew up going to the Bookman, and for some of you who live locally and go to the Bookman. This is for all of us. This is some real neighborhood. Sorry, there's a fucking feather on my microphone. I didn't really have to tell you that. I could have just rolled with it, but I'm nothing if not honest with you. I'm honest and upfront with you. There was a feather on my microphone, and it distracted me, is what just happened. Where did the feather come from? I don't know. I don't own a chicken coop. So go ahead and paint me puzzled. In any case, admittedly, I was a little rusty. In fact, like halfway through, I realized it occurred to me that over the last year, at least the last 9 or 10 months, I really haven't had conversations with anyone who isn't my wife, my son, or my therapist. But thankfully, Dave is such a good conversationalist and a very interesting guy. And when we were done, he actually expressed to me how much fun he had doing the podcast, and I'm truly glad that that was the case. If you're local, do yourself a big fat favor and drop by the Bookman in the city of Orange. And honestly, even if you're not into books, go to the Bookman and get into books, okay? It's 2025. The robots are taking over. Books are all we have left. You can also shop on their website, ebookman.com. They'll mail books directly to your door, okay? Don't buy books on Amazon. Don't support that bald freak. Support this bald freak. Subscribe to my podcast and spend your hard-earned money at the Bookman, okay? Keep my neighborhood bookstore open, alive, and thriving. Thank you so much. All right, well, this is my conversation with Dave, the owner of the Bookman. I didn't catch his last name. I'm just going to call him Bookman Dave. Bookman Dave, everybody. So again, thank you for doing this. I can't tell you what a treat this is to be here in the off hours. I've been trying to think of how long I've been coming to this bookstore, and you can correct me if my math isn't adding up, but I'm pretty sure I've been coming here since I was about 14 years old, and I'm about to be 40 in a handful of months. Does that sound...
Oh, that's definitely right. Well, we opened the doors in 1990.
Okay. Yeah, then that definitely adds up.
So that was in your wheelhouse, right?
Yes, exactly. I used to come here with my mother when I was about 13, 14, and now I bring my son here, and he's older than I was when I used to come here with my mother. So that's how life is crazy like that.
Well, I hear all kinds of stories like that. People come up and say, oh, I used to come here when I was a little kid, you know.
Yeah.
They have kids running around and stuff like that.
Sure.
You know, it gives me pause.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's cool. You have your regulars. I want to talk about books in general, but and I also want to talk about your wonderful store. I think we'll talk about the store first because I feel like if we get to talking about books, we might not ever get to the store.
All right, let's go.
Okay, cool. So what you said 1990 you opened?
Opened the doors in 1990.
Okay. And how did that come about? Was it just something you wanted to do? Did you fall into it?
I'll try to make the short story version. I don't know if you ever heard of a bookstore called...
I'm going to move this to you just a little bit. There you go.
Okay.
Keep going.
I don't know if you've ever heard of a bookstore called the Book Baron.
It sounds familiar.
Book Baron, they're in Anaheim.
Okay.
And their store was actually bigger than this store. You know, people always think this store is big, but that store was super big.
Okay.
And I started working there in the 80s and eventually became the store manager of that store.
Okay.
And I just loved what I was doing. I started off working part-time. I had another job. I would just work on weekends, and then...
What was your other job, if I can ask?
I was a bookkeeper for my mom.
Okay.
Before that, I worked in a grocery store, and I got so tired of working with the grocery store public that I got a job with my mom and worked in the back room and said, I don't want to talk to nobody.
Yeah.
I just want to be back here in the office. But eventually, I used to go to the Book Baron on my spare time, and I loved it. And I saw a little sign in his counter that said, become a bookseller, go to this special class in Colorado. And I asked Bob Weinstein, who was the owner, I said, hey, I'm thinking of taking this class. What do you think? He goes, that class is for nobody. He says, if you want to learn the book business, you come work for me.
I love it.
So I said, well, okay. I said, I can work weekends. And so I started working weekends. And eventually I cut my mom's stuff back. And then eventually I just went full-time at the Book Baron. And it was during that time I just had an epiphany. I said, I want to open my own bookstore. That's what I want to do. And I worked with another fellow there named Paul Bonaventure, a little ex-jockey. And we used to kibitz all the time. And he said, come on, Dave, let's go together. Let's open a store. And I said, no, man, I can't do that. I don't have the money. But he kept pushing, and I somehow raised the money, and we rented this shop that you probably went to first.
Yes.
Over there on Tustin Street. And I felt good about it because once we opened, I had a good grounding in the book business. Mm-hmm. I knew what I was doing right off the get-go. It wasn't just, it's like a guy says, oh, I love pizza. I want to open a pizza parlor. And he doesn't know the nuts and bolts of a pizza parlor.
Sure.
You're not gonna, so it's the same with book selling. It is easy somewhat, but in those days, you really had to know your books. You had to know because there was no internet. You couldn't look things up. You had to know books. It was, I really miss those days, actually.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, those days were beautiful. But so I knew what I was looking for. I had a good feel for books. I knew what was unusual and what was common. I really had a good grasp on it. And like I said, when we opened the doors, it just took off. It was an immediate success. I mean, it was slow building up, but we had customers right off the bat.
It exceeded your expectations a bit. Yeah.
And we had a good stock. And my philosophy was always to keep it. You never want your sections to get stagnant. You always want to add more. Yeah. Because people who shop, if you would shop for fishing books and you came into the fishing section 3 times in a row and it was all the same stuff, you might not come in. But the
Right.
idea is to keep stuff fresh, keep it moving, keep water, like water in the pond. You got to keep it fresh.
Sure.
So-
And I was actually going to ask, and without revealing any tricks of the trade, how do you go about staying stock? Are you actively hunting books online or in stores, or do you rely on
well,
donations?
not anymore. Now we have an absolute influx. Nowadays, currently, people bring us more books than I could even handle.
Okay.
I have pallets of books out back there.
A few of those boxes
I
are
have
mine.
books all over. They
Yeah.
come in all the time, and more than I could even handle.
Okay.
So we're not actively buying books anymore, but we do a lot of trading, and people donate their books, and so
see.
we have no problem.
Yeah. What you said you missed the old days a lot. What specifically is it? Is it just the nostalgia of it?
To
or-
be absolutely honest,
Yeah.
I mean, the internet, I've got hemming and hawing around it, but the internet, it changed everything.
Sure.
Amazon,
Right.
it all changed.
We were going to get to that. Yeah. I was
it
gonna
all
ask.
changed, man. So
Yeah.
up to that point, when the internet really started to take hold, a book person really needed to know books.
Right.
They really had to have a grasp of what was good, what was collectible. I mean, you'd have to know it.
Mhm.
And there was reference books. There's plenty of reference books. But if you went into a thrift store and you looked at a shelf of books, there might be just one book that's worth anything. So
Right.
it's up to you to know what it is.
Right.
So,
It kind of makes you work for
yeah,
your knowledge.
you had to have
and
knowledge. You
yeah.
had to know stuff. You had to.
You have to obsess about it.
Yeah, that's the way the book business was for
Sure.
centuries. You know?
Yeah.
It
That's
was
probably
like-
how most things were. you
yeah,
know? Yeah.
it was just the way things ran. So-
Yeah. So this next one will sort of segue us into talking about books. People ask me for recommendations all the time, and I imagine you get that question way more often. So when someone asks you to recommend a book, how do you respond to that?
I tell you, quite honestly, I'm not very good at that.
Okay.
And I don't know how to say this. Even though I work in the book business, it's recommending a book to somebody is really kind of a personal thing.
Right.
And what I would read, I don't think the next person would read.
Right.
And if I was really up on the modern literature and read all the stuff that's coming out, which I'm not, I tend to read old stuff.
Okay. I was going to ask.
I don't read a lot of the modern stuff, and I can recommend what I know is selling.
Right. Okay.
So they say, well, do you have something like about a World War II romance kind of thing? And there's a few of them out there now. It's kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I can tell them titles that are popular and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
How important is it to read the classics, do you think?
again,
Yeah.
I have to put a qualifier on this. I am all over the board in my reading habits. That's because I work in a bookstore.
Sure.
And I see all this stuff come over. And so I'll see books on World War II history that's fascinating, and I'll see a novel. And so I might read the World War II and the novel. And so I do read classics,
Okay.
but not exclusively.
Sure.
And
Is there, I know I'm going to keep harping on this. Is there like something that pops in your head? Is there a book that you think everyone should read regardless of their taste?
well, yeah, there's a number of them.
Yeah.
I mean, my personal favorite for a long time that people ask me about, I always loved Catch-22.
Okay. Joseph
I love
Heller.
that book.
Yeah.
I just love that book, and I don't read many books over and over again. I'm very not good at that. I'll read one book and
I'm the same way.
that's it.
Interesting.
Other people will reread stuff,
Right.
but I have reread Catch-22 about 3 times. I absolutely adore Watership Down.
Okay.
I love Nicholas Nickleby by Dickens.
Okay.
As far as classics go, Brothers
Sure.
Karamazov by Dostoevsky. Those are all books that I had a fond place in my heart. But I also love old Perry Mason novels. John D. MacDonald novels.
What is it about rereading books? I know what it is for me. It's funny. I'll enjoy something, and in that moment, I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever read in my life. Somehow, the stars have aligned in such a way that I'm right here, right now, reading this book. And then, like you said, I'll just never revisit it. Where other people will keep doing it.
Yeah, no, over and over again.
Yeah, why not? I don't know. I think I just there's so many books to read.
Well, there you go. For me, I'm the same way.
Yeah,
it's like, well, I can reread something, or I can really read this other thing that I have.
Right.
Again, working in a bookstore, this is my library.
Yeah.
The store is my library.
Incredible.
I don't really. I got books at home, but not as many as you might think, because I read them, bring them back.
Mm-hmm.
Put them back on the shelf.
Amazing.
So this is kind of my library here. And there's so many interesting books out there. There's so many things that catch my fancy. So,
yeah. What is it you think that brings people like myself back to the brick and mortar shops in the world with Amazon and ebooks and audiobooks and all that? What is it?
I think there is a couple things. I really do. I think one of the major things that I've always been absolutely positive is that some people like to browse.
Sure.
You can walk through the aisles. You can look at stuff. You'll see stuff that, like I do when I see all these interesting books, they have the same experience. They can look and see our new arrivals sections. And you can't do that on Amazon.
Right.
I mean, you kind of can.
You can click around.
Scroll through and
Sure.
click around, see recommendations of best-selling book. But in here, you can look through, you can open it up, you could page through it, you could say, hey, you buy a couple books you didn't even think you even wanted.
Yes.
And you walk out the door with 2 books you never even thought about getting.
Yeah.
And so the browser is really the backbone kind of the modern book selling community or whatever.
Yeah. And I admittedly, I'm not made of stone. I'm only a man after all. If I see a book that looks interesting, I'll fight the urge, and sometimes I'll lose that fight to look it up on Amazon right here in the store, just to see what others are saying about it. And I'll stop myself sometimes. Like there was a long time, more often than not, that you couldn't do that. So like you would have had to have just taken a chance. It's a risk. And if you like it, great. If you don't, that's fine too.
I really have no problem with that, so that doesn't bother me. It just, I want you to walk out with a book that you want,
Yeah,
so.
Sure. So what is the first book you remember reading, and how old were you?
First book I remember reading that was like a hardcover, or in my mind as a kid, a big boy book, was a Hardy Boys book, I
love it. Which Hardy Boys?
It was the one with the big owl on the cover.
Okay,
I forget the title. I see them all the time.
Yeah.
And it was, and I remember reading it from cover to cover. And when I finished, I remember feeling so accomplished.
Sure.
Like, I read a book.
I still feel that way.
I read a book,
Yeah.
And to me, it was like, that was the start of an adventure, because the whole idea that I could read a book, I don't know, I guess at some age you don't think you're capable of reading a book.
Right.
So that was the first book that I read, Hardy Boys.
Your first big boy book, as
Yeah,
you put
first
it.
big boy
I love
book.
it. No, I know exactly what you mean. What would you have read before that? Were you comics or something?
Yeah, my mom always kept kid books around.
Sure.
Little picture books. And I don't know, just...
Well, how old were you when you read the Hardy Boys book? Give or take.
5 or 6,
Oh,
maybe.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's advanced.
Maybe older.
Yeah, right.
I can't remember so long
I believe
ago.
you.
I can actually remember laying on my bed finishing it, so I can picture where I was.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't picture exactly how old I was.
Okay. No, that's fine. There's a debate about audiobooks. Do you consume audiobooks, and do you consider it the same as reading?
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against audiobooks. I don't listen to them as much anymore because I listen to podcasts.
Oh, I see. I've heard of those.
I'm a big podcaster, and I listen to all kinds of podcasts. So unfortunately, the books on CD or tape or whatever you call it, I haven't even tried on my car yet. I have Bluetooth, so I have to figure out how to get a book.
Sure.
But anyway, I used to, when I came to work, I'd always have CDs, and I'd listen to book after book, and I always felt like it qualified.
Yeah. Okay.
It qualified.
Yeah. I'm slowly getting into audiobooks. I'm kind of picky. I'm probably just being a stickler, but I have to enjoy the voice, because it's a long time with the voice in your ear. And to an extent, podcasts are the same way,
Yeah. Yeah. You have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a mystery guy I was listening to, and one of the guys they chose was just the wrong voice. It was just so hard to get into.
That matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like, no, this is not the hard-boiled guy that should be. And so, but more than often than not, they're usually pretty good. So, in fact, I even listened to on audio Catch-22.
I was going to ask that. How was the audiobook? How did it hold up?
It was excellent. It was so good. I think a guy named Jay Sanders, I think.
Okay.
He's a regular actor. If you saw him, you'd recognize him.
Okay.
But he was so good. He was so good. And he pulled it off.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to have to dive into that. I've been... Specifically, if I'm reading a long book, I like to find the audio version, and then I'll do like every other chapter. You know what I mean? And then, but that'll also keep me in that world for so long. And then my wife will ask me a question: "Who are you?" I'm hanging out with Don Quixote or whatever.
See, for me, in the audiobooks,
no. Oh no, that's all right. That's all right. No problem.
In the audiobooks, I was listening to this one on Roman history, and it was pretty. Just not descriptive, scholarly, I guess.
Sure.
And then I found that I was missing a lot. I just, it was the kind of thing you really had to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. But if I put in a mystery novel, I had no problem. I got everything. I caught the gist. I caught the rhythm of the book. I got everything was fine. But so I kind of steered away from the intellectual stuff.
I understand. Yeah.
Because it was a matter of just attention,
I understand completely. I have a hard enough time paying attention to things. And I've read someone I can't remember who said it, but they put it pretty well. They say listening is a passive thing, where reading is an active thing. So if you're sitting there, actually, you have to look at the words, you have to interpret them, you have to process it in your brain. You're actually doing something versus listening to something. As long as you can keep your attention on it, you're absorbing the information, but it's really easy to trail off and just
trail off. And then a novel that's not too, or a book that's not too heavy, and the gist is all there.
Sure. So, something with a plot and all that. If you just start rattling off information like a textbook, I'm going to start thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner and all that. Yeah.
And then you go, oh shit.
Yeah. Oh no, you can say shit. We say shit all the time. Yeah.
You have to like punch it backwards a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And but one thing I've never done, I don't know if you're going to ask it, I've never read a Kindle.
Okay, I have not either
in my life.
What? Tell me about that. Are you
just no desire?
Yeah. What is it about the Kindle that
it just doesn't?
You can't feel it. You can't smell it.
Well, I never really, questioned why. I just never did. I just have no desire to. And the people say, oh, you can make the print bigger, or you can look up words. I'm fine,
Yeah, I do know.
I read a Hardy Boy book.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah.
So I just never have. There's something, this almost is a little cliche. There's something about holding a book, and turning the pages.
Yes, I do know.
Reading it, it's an exercise. If you don't read, and that has nothing to do with the Kindle, but if you don't read, reading is an exercise. Mm-hmm. So if people are giving up reading to try to read a book after you haven't been reading is work. It's an exercise. And if you're not, it's like any exercise. If you're not doing it, it gets harder and harder.
It is a muscle. Yeah.
It's a muscle, know? So... But my sister reads Kindles. I have the big bookstore here. She can have any book she wants.
And she reads Kindles.
But she reads Kindles, so.
Hilarious. Younger sister, older sister?
She's younger. It's just a year younger than me.
Yeah, so. Okay. I want to know, what is a book that comes to mind that is overrated, in your opinion? If you want to say.
Nothing comes to mind. There's a few that I couldn't finish. There's one that came out a while ago called Gilead that everybody was talking about.
Yeah.
And I read half of it and put it down. And And there's one called Edward Saw something that was a big hit, and I read half of that, and I said, what? It just, I don't know. Just, you know, sometimes when I do branch out and try to read modern stuff, a lot of times I'm disappointed. I think it has to do with the writing style has changed. It's not so much story anymore. It's more milieu, people. There's nothing wrong with people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just the story's kind of gone. Like the whole, I like a good story.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, I want a story. And a lot of modern literature doesn't seem to have, of course, I haven't given it much of a chance. So people are going to tell me, hey, you should read this. It's got a great story. So,
yeah. No, I understand. Do you watch film adaptations, and is there one that sticks out as like, wow, they really nailed it with that one?
I think the best ones are in thanks to these times are the minis, the like Netflix or Amazon,
series,
where you can do a series where you can really stretch out a book and really get into it. And I've heard people say for movies, you know, a lot of people say, oh, the movie sucked. You know, the book was so much better. But as a guy who loves movies, you got to realize you got an hour and a half to 2 hours to tell a story that a book has 400 pages, and you have to pick just kind of the best beats of the story and put it into 2 hours. So I really respect filmmakers that can make, you know, quasi good movies out of a book. Sure, the book's going to be better.
Well
so
said.
what? You know, read the book.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't pan the movie for it. You know, I think they try.
You let it be its own thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
However,
okay.
Sometimes you'll take a book and they'll just like, you go, what the hell were you thinking? I mean, they left out everything. I mean, maybe they kept the title.
Give me an example, please.
Oh, I can't right now. I wish I could.
No,
I wish I could.
That's all right.
Because there were some, but if I had known this was coming, I would have thought about it. But I can't think of anything right out the bat.
Well, I'll give you one, and this might be blasphemous, and you know, I'm within the context, within the appropriate context. It's older and whatever, but I just recently read East of Eden, and then I went to see the movie, and they left out all the best characters, and I haven't finished the movie yet, but that bothered me quite a bit.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about. You can only choose so much. East of Eden is like 800 pages or
something like that. 6
and they got
to
2 hours to tell all that.
Yeah.
So you really have to make some tough choices if you decide to go that way.
Yeah.
You know, I read The Godfather. The Godfather was one of my favorite movies. And the stuff they left out was perfect because the stuff in the book was just, why is that in there?
Interesting.
The movie was far superior to the book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard anyone say that. That's
far superior to the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've not read it, but it's on my list. I'm going to get to it just to
It's
check
good.
that
There's
out.
a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Well, you'll see what I mean when you get to it.
Did you watch the show on I can't remember what network it is, but it's The Making of the Godfather. It's like an actual drama.
Yeah, you know, I never did watch it. I was afraid to.
The Offer, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally, now Godfather's not my favorite movie, so you know, you might feel differently, but I think it was incredible. I enjoyed it a lot. So.
I should watch it.
Yeah, you should get to that.
Because to me, The Godfather's hallowed ground, and I didn't want to see kind of a weird. I don't know.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. What is, and you may have already answered this, what's the funniest book you've ever read?
Well, I laughed out loud a lot in Catch-22.
Yeah.
But, and I was talking to somebody else about this just the other day. I'll read a funny book, and I laugh on the inside. I don't really LOL, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you kind of smile.
Sure.
You smile.
That's
whatever.
laughing.
Yeah. But the book that did make me laugh out loud, and I'm blanking on the title, was what was that? They made a movie out of it with John Cusack. He works in the radio.
In the record store?
Yeah.
High Fidelity.
High Fidelity.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Okay. The High Fidelity, the book, I was laughing out loud.
Okay. I have it on my shelf. I haven't got to it yet.
Hilarious. It takes place in London, and the movie takes place in Chicago, but the book takes place in London. He's a British writer. And all the funny bits that are in the movie are funnier in the book. You know?
Really?
I was laughing out loud.
That's funny because, again, that's one of my favorite movies.
Great movie.
And I've had the book, and I think for the same reason, I'm like, I don't know if I want to, if I want to tarnish the way I think of the movie.
No, I don't think you'll be disappointed. They were both good on like we said. The movie's good, the book's good. Sure. You can have two things that are good.
Yeah. I recently realized actually that sometimes the movie won't necessarily make the book better, but I'll tell you what I mean. I grew up watching One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and The Shining. Take them or leave them, however you feel about them. But then I read the books later in life, pretty recently actually. And if anything, the movie enhanced the experience because I get to picture Jack Nicholson the whole time,
I pretty much my whole life as a kid, even kind of through adult, that if I liked a movie a lot and I knew it was based on the book, I would always read the book after.
Okay.
A lot of people read it before they go see the movie or whatever. I usually read it after. And so then my film experience is not tainted by, oh, this is shit, So
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so I would watch the movie. I loved it. And if I liked the movie enough, I'd read the book and take it for what it was.
Yeah, that's a good way to go about it. Is there a book that has made you cry?
That's a good question. I nothing comes to mind.
Okay.
And I do enjoy a good cry, but I can't think of a book that made me cry recently or in the past. I'm sure there is something.
Or just a sad book. Can you think of a sad book?
Yeah. God, yes and yes and no. I know I have. I just read for the first time. I was I was picking up books that I see a lot of books come through and go over the counter, and every now and then I'll say, well, you know what? I think I'll read that. Just some random book that I've seen forever since I've been in the book business,
Yeah.
And so I recently read The Yearling.
I'm not familiar.
The Yearling. It's it has been around since the 40s.
Okay.
Or 30s even. It's about a boy who finds it. It's about a family that lives in Florida, and they're hard scrabble, trying to make. They have a little farm, and the little boy finds a deer, a yearling, and adopts it, and so forth. And it's a classic. It's been around for a long time. They made a movie out of it, I think, with Gregory Peck is in it.
Okay.
Which I had never seen. But the book it's considered, kind of a children's classic, but it was far from a children's classic. It was dark, and it was pretty sad. It didn't make me cry, but it had its sad moments and joyous moments too. I love The Yearling. I highly recommend it to the modern audience. It was good.
That's great.
Good
The
stuff.
Yearling. You heard it here, folks. The Yearling. Yeah, I will definitely look into it. We're going to do a few this or that's, and then I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Hemingway or Bukowski?
Unfair. Unfair question.
Okay. Well, if you could only read like prison books, I have this thing, like if I ever have to go to prison, these are the books I'm taking with me. Would it be a Hemingway book or a Bukowski book?
Well, ultimately I'd have to go with Hemingway.
Okay.
He has a larger body of work, and Bukowski loved Hemingway.
Yes.
So
that makes sense.
I think he would be okay with it too, but I think ultimately I'd have to go with Hemingway.
Okay. Steinbeck or Vonnegut?
Vonnegut.
Oh, I love it. Mark Twain or Charles Dickens?
Dickens.
Okay. Jules Verne or H.G. Wells?
I shamefacedly admit that I've never read a Jules Verne book.
Okay.
So we'll just go with H.G. Wells.
Great. All right. Jack Kerouac or William Burroughs?
Kerouac.
Okay. Dracula or Frankenstein?
Yeah, Dracula.
Okay. I love it. I don't know if anyone's ever said that. Dracula. I love that. That should be a t-shirt. The Brothers Karamazov or The Count of Monte Cristo?
Brothers.
Okay.
Great book. Great book.
I have not read
it
either
a few
of those
times.
yet. Okay.
It's.
Have you read The Count of Monte
I've never
Cristo?
read that.
Okay.
So I got to admit that I've never read it, but you know, I probably should choose it since I'm in prison and got all this time. I should try something new.
Yeah, sure. Sure. But what if you're disappointed? You know,
Yeah,
at least
that's
you
true.
know you love the brothers, right? They'll be right there for
Yeah.
you. Moby Dick or Don Quixote?
I'd say Moby Dick. I
Okay.
love Moby Dick.
I've never read Moby Dick. It's
I was one of those books I made myself read. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you got to read Moby
that's
Dick.
how I'm gonna read it.
You know,
Yeah.
and I ended up loving it. And that
Okay.
was great. It was fantastic.
Do you have a copy here?
You know, we sell that like crazy still.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will take a look. We
Okay.
might.
Cool.
It
I'll
comes
go
and
home with
goes.
it. Yeah. All right. Last this or that. 1984 or Brave New World?
1984. I recently read Brave New World, and I got to say, for me, it sucked.
Really?
I did not like it at all.
I haven't read it, so
I had to force myself to finish it.
really.
Yeah, I was so disappointed with it.
Okay.
I was so disappointed. I mean, after all the, you know, and I might be alone in this. I mean,
I don't know that you're alone in that. Yeah.
I thought you talk about the overrated books. That for
Yeah,
me,
there we go. We found it.
that was for me is like, what's
Is it the
what's all
plot
about?
or the way he wrote it? or-
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the plot, I don't know. It just
Yeah.
it did not resonate with me at all.
Okay. Well, Brave New World, overrated book. We found it. So my background is music. I come from the hip hop world, and in the hip hop world, we have something called Top 5 Dead or Alive. It's essentially the best 5 rappers who have ever lived, in your opinion, and it's a topic of much contention. Many arguments are had at this and will continue to be had till the world explodes. So I want to put that question to you in terms of authors. Who are your top 5 dead or alive authors ever?
Well, is that going to be a problem?
No, it's fine. He just asked if the gardeners are going to be a problem. They're a constant problem in my world.
Well, top 5, I'd have to throw old Hem back in there.
Okay.
Hemingway. Now, I think for me, one of the top 5 authors would be Raymond Chandler.
Okay.
Raymond Chandler is a genius.
What? I'm not familiar.
Raymond Chandler, he has.
I'm sorry. Let's wait 1 second. He's getting. I said it's fine, and now he's getting closer.
Yeah.
Let's let him pass. I do this pretty regularly, and it's a weird thing to complain about. The gardeners making everything look nice, you know. But and you know, I used to. You said you've never done a podcast before.
No.
Yeah. So I used to film these, and you know, it has its advantages, but I'm trying to get back to the essence of what a podcast was, which is just audio, you know?
Right.
It's because I never watch podcasts. I only listen to them.
So do I.
Every once in a while, maybe if there's a reason to watch, I'll tune in on YouTube or something. But I find that, and this is for me too, I find that it's hard enough with a microphone in your face, and then you put a camera and lights on someone, and you're like, okay, be natural, go. And it doesn't work that way,
Nah.
even for me, you know?
I'm not camera shy though.
No,
But
yeah.
I like. This is,
Actually, and we'll get, forgive me, we'll get back to your top 5 dead or alive. But you bring that up. I know that you have a little series on Instagram, Things Found in Old Books.
right.
What's the craziest thing, the weirdest thing you found in an old book? Does anything come to mind?
Yeah, there's a few things. I found a unused condom from the 70s.
Unused condom.
Yeah.
Okay, from the 70s. That makes sense.
Well, you can kind of date it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I found a little bird skeleton.
I'm sorry. You found a bird skeleton in a book?
Yes. It
Explain,
was in a
please.
nature book.
Okay.
And it was all flat. Now, they might have found it on the trail, the people who
Sure.
had this, because it was kind of a trail guide thing.
Okay.
But it was like a little skeleton,
Yeah.
and they decided to keep it. They put it in the book. And so I thought that was pretty bizarre.
Yeah, I would say so.
I found, I think the most cool thing I found was a letter written by a Civil War soldier.
Wow.
a handwritten letter from the front, wrote, chit-chatty. But the best thing about it was in a Bible. And the Bible recorded births and deaths and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it recorded this soldier's birth. He was born in such a day, blah, blah. And then you turn a few pages in, and it showed his death. And he died on the day of a huge battle in Atlanta. His death.
Fascinating.
This soldier who wrote this letter that I was reading died later that year in a battle.
What do you do with a letter when you find something like that? What do you frame it? Do you just
I just wad it up and throw it away. No.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
No. Yeah. Something like that I did sold to a collector.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff I find is really not sellable. Just
no one wants the bird skeleton or the unused condom?
The bird skeleton, I have a plant back there. I put it in the soil of the plant and kind of tapped it down and kind of gave it a little burial.
You gave him a burial.
A little burial, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, sent it off. Gave it the proper respect.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So if our friend here is almost done.
He's almost done.
Yeah. So let's get back to your top 5 dead or alive.
Well, you got the Hemingway, Raymond Chandler. He wrote Philip Marlowe, Humphrey Bogart, all that stuff.
Okay.
Not the Maltese Falcon. That was Dashiell Hammett.
Okay.
But Philip Marlowe did the Big Sleep and all that stuff like that. That was and I mean he's the king of the simile. She was gorgeous to look at until you got 10 feet away. Kind of, I don't know. I didn't do a very good job, but he's excellent. I love Raymond Chandler. He's right up there with my pantheon of good. And I do like Dostoevsky. It's not a thing I would read all the time, but I do love him. So there's 3. Mm-hmm. Who else do I like? I keep returning to some of these guys. I know I've read so many books.
I believe it. Do you have any idea how many books you've read?
Believe it or not, I'm not a very fast reader.
Okay.
I'm very plodding.
Okay.
I just read some every day. Mm-hmm. But like the turtle that wins the race, I just every day I just read, and I don't feel the need to plow through it or be a speed reader or anything like that. Vonnegut, add that to the list.
I love it. I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, that's on mine.
I love Vonnegut.
Yes.
And like right now, I'm reading John Cheever, who I've never read before, and I'm absolutely loving it. Mm-hmm. I think he's a great writer. I know there's more.
Just one more, if you got it.
One more. Look around.
He's looking around at all the books. Yeah, I imagine it's overwhelming at times.
Well, I've read quite a bit of Stephen King too. I like Stephen King.
Yeah,
I'm not. My biggest complaint with him, he seems to have a trouble with endings. They don't.
It kind of just goes and goes and goes.
But Stephen King, the book that he wrote called The Shining.
Yeah, I just read that.
Yeah, what'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it. That's one of the ones I enjoyed more having seen the movie because I get to picture Jack Nicholson the whole time.
But I read that book, again, 3 times, and every time it was like a different book for me because I felt it's very layered. It's a very layered book. It's a good story, then it's a good psychological drama, and then kind of a spiritual thing. I mean, it works on a lot of different levels, and I think that is a great book. I know I'm forgetting. I know I said Stephen King, but that's kind of a cheating. I have more. Why can't I think of them? This is embarrassing.
Right. Yeah, no, don't be embarrassed. It's.
Well, I just have this whole mix of names in my head.
Yeah. Are you a Steinbeck fan?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I like Steinbeck.
Okay.
I've read quite a few of his.
I'm getting into Steinbeck, so. That's why I ask.
No, he's good. I do like Bukowski, but I don't know if he's one of my all-time favorites.
Sure.
Well, we'll have to just put Stephen King on
We'll
the
put
list.
Stephen King in there for a while and keep the
it'll
seat
be
warm.
a placeholder.
Yeah, all right. That's perfect.
As soon as you leave, I'll go, oh, why didn't I say this? Yeah. And I always do that. I go, oh, I should have said this. I should have said that.
No, I don't think anyone would take umbrage with your list. I think it's a solid list. How many leaves could there possibly be outside? You know, are there gonna be any leaves on the trees when I turn around? It's to my back.
It's just all on the ground.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I've wanted to do this honestly for a very long time, and for some reason, some hilarious twist of fate, I'm only comfortable talking to people with a microphone in my face. So I appreciate.
Oh, now we've introduced. You can talk to me anytime.
Yeah, okay.
No, I love this. I mean, not many people want to know about the book business or whatever, and I think there's a lot of good stories to tell. I got many stories to tell about the actual book business. So,
okay.
We didn't really get into the stories of the book business, but there's some good stuff there.
I'm in no rush, but I know you got to open here pretty soon. So.
Well, I do have to open pretty soon. So
okay, that's all right.
Maybe some other day.
Maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
Where do I catch it?
What's that?
Where do I catch this?
Just anywhere podcasts, or it's On the Way Down is the name of the podcast. I'll send you links.
Yeah, send me a link.
Yeah, I will.
Like I said, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much for doing this.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right.
Okay, that was my conversation with Dave, Bookman Dave of the Bookman. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with him. We talked about doing it again, and that was his idea. And I was like, don't fuck with me now. We will do this again. I will show back up here with equipment, and I will make you do this all over again. So perhaps that's something that we'll do in the future. Thank you so much for pressing play and listening. If you've gotten this far, thank you so much. I do appreciate you being here. There really no need for an intro, or rather for an outro, but here we are doing an outro. It feels good to podcast again, and it feels good every time someone asks me about the podcast. There's a little stress that comes with that, but only because I know that a lot of you enjoy this, and I feel like I'm letting you down sometimes. But I got to stay true to myself. We're nothing if not true to ourselves. So when I want to podcast, I'll podcast. And when you want to listen to the podcast, listen to the podcast. I appreciate you for doing so. Okay? Is that the agreement we can come to moving forward? Okay? Take care of yourselves. Maybe I'll see you again, or maybe I'll talk to you again soon. All right. Goodbye.